The battlefield graveyard smoke filled the air. The ground was burning. Metal parts, broken weapons, and dead bodies lay everywhere. This was not a battlefield anymore. It was a graveyard. In the middle of this ruin, an alien warrior opened her eyes. Her name was Vale, and she was a high-ranking soldier of the Zarathi Empire, proud, fearless, and powerful. But now she was lying on the ground, half buried in dust and blood. Her armor was broken, her body was shaking, and worst of all, her legs were gone. She tried to move. Pain shot through her body. She looked down and saw nothing below her knees, just smoke, sparks, and blood. She screamed, but no one answered. Just a few hours ago, she was leading a charge against human soldiers. Her people were winning. They were fast, brutal, and advanced. But then, something went wrong. The humans had set a trap. Explosions, heavy weapons, airstrikes. Her team was cut off. One by one, her fellow warriors fell. Vale had tried to fight back. She didn't run. That was not the Zarathi way. She had stood her ground. She had faced the enemy with pride, and then the blast happened. She didn't remember much after that. Just fire, pain, and then darkness. Now she was alone, broken, abandoned. She turned her head and saw shadows, moving far away. Her own people, Zarathi soldiers. They were leaving, flying away in drop-dash ships. She raised her arm. Wait. She tried to shout, but her voice was weak. Her arm fell back down. They didn't see her, or maybe they saw her and still left her behind. She was not useful now. No legs, no weapon, no power. To them, she was already dead. Vale felt something inside her break. Not her bones, her spirit. Was this the end? But then, she heard footsteps, heavy, boots, slow and careful. Someone was coming. She reached for a sharp piece of metal nearby. If this was an enemy, she would fight with her last breath. The footsteps stopped. She looked up and saw a human, a soldier. Face dirty, helmet cracked, uniform torn, a weapon in his hand. He looked tired, hurt, and alone. He looked at her eyes full of confusion and something else, not fear, not hate. Something different. Vale tightened her grip on the metal shard. The human raised his weapon. She braced for the end, but he didn't shoot. Instead, he slowly lowered the gun. He knelt beside her. Vale stared at him. Why not kill me? She asked, her voice dry and weak. The human didn't answer for a few seconds. Then he said, I don't leave people behind. She didn't understand. Why would a human help her? She was his enemy. His people had killed hers, and hers had killed his. Still, he took out a small medical pack. He cleaned her wounds. He wrapped bandages around what was left of her legs. Vale tried to push him away. I don't need your help, she whispered. He didn't listen. He built a small fire. He gave her water. He even put a blanket over her shoulders. She watched him, confused. What's your name? She asked. Cole, he said. Sergeant Cole. She nodded slowly. I am Vale, warrior of Zarathi. Cole looked around. Well, warrior Vale, there's nothing left here but smoke and bones. The sun began to set. The battlefield turned dark in the distance. Strange sounds echoed, drones scanning the ruins, machines searching for survivors. Or targets. Cole stood up. We can't stay here. They'll come. Vale laughed weakly. I cannot walk. Go. Save yourself. Cole looked at her with calm eyes. Not my style. He picked up parts from broken machines nearby. He started building something, basic supports, a way to carry her. Vale couldn't believe it. Why are you doing this? Because you're still alive, he said simply. Hours passed. Cole carried Vale through the shadows, avoiding scanners and patrols. She leaned against him, half-conscious. Every step was hard, but they kept going. And in the silence of the dead battlefield, a strange bond began to grow. They were not friends, they were not allies, but they were two living beings, both left behind by their own kind, both struggling to survive. And maybe, just maybe, that was enough. The silence was not peaceful. It was waiting to be broken. The fire had died. The smoke had faded. But inside the ruins of war, trust was still. Burning Vale opened her eyes again. Her body was weak, but her mind was sharp. She was lying in a hidden trench. Her wounds were covered. Her legs still gone. Her pain still there. But now, something new had entered her life. A human, Sergeant Cole, sat a few feet away, checking his rifle. His hands were steady, his face calm, but his eyes kept looking toward the sky. He didn't speak much, only when needed. But his actions spoke louder than any words. He had saved her. He had carried her. He had treated her wounds. But why Vale had been taught all her life? Humans are weak, cowards, liars. So why did this one risk his life for her? She watched him with suspicion. I would have left you, she said coldly. Cole didn't look at her. I know. You should have. He finally looked up. Maybe. The air grew heavy. For a moment, they were just two broken warriors, sitting in the dust of a dead world. Vale remembered her training. You do not feel pain, her commander had shouted. You do not show weakness. If you fall, we leave you. There is no honor in slowing others down. She had believed that. Until now, she was the one left behind. And the only one who came back was the enemy. Cole stood up. I'll scout the area. Don't move. Vale gave a dry laugh. Can't move, remember? Cole nodded. Good. Then stay alive. He walked off slowly, gun raised, eyes sharp. Vale watched him go. She hated him and respected him. That was the problem. Suddenly, a sound, metal scraping. In the rubble, Vale reached for a rock. She couldn't fight, but she could defend herself. A dark shape appeared. Not human, not friendly. A Zarathi recon drone. Small, silent, deadly, her own kind. It scanned the area, looking for signs of life. If it found her, it would report her position. If it found Cole, it would attack. Vale had a choice. Stay silent, or warn the human. She made her choice. Cole, she screamed. Behind you? The drone turned. So did Cole, just in time to shoot it down. Bang! The drone exploded in a flash of sparks. Cole rushed back. You okay? Vale nodded. My ear. Welcome. Cole raised an eyebrow. For what? For saving your life. He smiled slightly. We're even now. A pause in the storm. They sat again. Closer this time. No words for a while. Finally, Vale spoke. You didn't have to come back. Cole looked at her. I know. I was ready to die. That's how we are trained. That's not how I was trained. Vale tilted her head. Then why stay? He shrugged. I've seen too many people left behind. Friend, foe. Doesn't matter anymore. Not to me. Vale stared at him for a long time. Maybe you're not the monster I thought humans were. Cole looked at her, eyes serious. And maybe you're not the monster I was told to kill. A loud rumble echoed in the distance. Cole grabbed his scope and scanned. The horizon, 3 more drones, bigger, heavily armed. Flying low, scouts? Vale asked. No, Cole said quietly. Hunters. He turned to her. We need to move. Now. Vale tried to sit up. Then help me. Cole lifted her onto a makeshift sled he had built from broken armor. As they disappeared into the ruins, Vale whispered to herself, "Enemy or ally? I still don't know. But I owe him my life." ChatGPT said. The sky had turned dark red, like it was bleeding. Vale lay still under a broken piece of ship metal, breathing slowly. Every breath hurt. Every noise made her tense. She could feel the heat of battle in the air, even though most of the shooting had stopped. Cole sat next to her, cleaning his weapon. His face was quiet, but alert. He hadn't slept much, and it showed in his eyes. Still, he stayed close to her, not because he trusted her, but because he had made a choice, a strange, dangerous choice, to not leave her behind. Vale had stopped calling him a fool. Somewhere between the last two near-deaths and that destroyed Zarathi drone, she realized something. This human was not playing a game. He really meant it. He had chosen to protect her, not out of duty, not out of kindness, but out of something deeper. He didn't want to be like the rest of them. The ones who leave. She had once been like that too. They had moved during the night. Cole had tied together armor parts, plastic sheets, and old cables to build a dragging sled. He had pulled her across half a kilometer of broken battlefield. Past fire, past bodies, past everything. She had offered to guide him, give him safe. Routes warned him of traps. At first, he didn't listen. But after the third time she saved him from stepping on an active mine, he started nodding before moving. Now they sat in the remains of an old crashed transport Zarathi design. Vale had once ridden ships like this with her squad. Now it was just broken walls and a cracked power cell humming in the corner. Cole placed a ration bar in front of her. She stared at it, then back at him. "Do you even know what Zarathi eats?" she asked. "No," he said. "But if it tastes bad, just pretend it's punishment for losing." She actually smiled for a second, something she hadn't done in years. Cole looked out through a crack in the wall. "They're hunting again. I saw flashes on the hill." She leaned up, her legs still gone. The pain was more manageable now, but the weight of it, knowing they would never grow back, was heavier than anything she'd carried in war. "They are not just hunting survivors," she said. "They're hunting me." Cole didn't ask why. He just nodded like he already knew. "I was ranked high in the Zarathi command," she said quietly. "I knew things, important things. If I get captured or saved, it's a risk for them." Cole looked at her with sharp eyes. "They don't want to rescue you. They want to erase you." She didn't answer, but the silence said yes. Cole leaned back, arms crossed. "You sure you're not the first one of your kind? They've done this too." Vale gave him a long look. "And you? Have you never left anyone behind?" Cole's jaw tightened. Once the wind outside howled like a ghost. He didn't say anything more. Vale lowered her voice. "Why are you still here?" He shrugged. "Maybe I don't want to make the same mistake again." They sat in silence for a while. Then a sharp beep came from the power cell in the corner. Vale turned fast. "That's not just a battery. That's an old short-range comm unit." Cole raised an eyebrow. "Can we use it?" She crawled over, dragging herself by the arms. She opened the panel. Sparks flew, and she hissed in pain, but her hands kept moving. "Help me connect." "This wire," she said. He obeyed. No questions. Together, they rewired it. The screen lit up, blinking red. Vale opened a small encrypted channel. "It might be able to ping one of my people," she whispered. Cole paused. "That's what you want?" She didn't answer. Her fingers tapped the keys. A moment passed. Then, a reply. A voice came through the static. "Zarathi Unit 09, confirm identity." Vale sat straight. "Warrior Vale, wounded, requesting extraction. A pause. Then the voice returned, cold and sharp. Message received. Hold position. The channel cut. Vale stared at the dark screen. "They're coming," she said. Cole stood slowly. "To save you." She didn't answer. He watched her eyes and saw it there. Doubt, fear, betrayal. "You don't believe it," he said. "They're not coming to rescue me," she whispered. "They're coming to finish what the battlefield started." Cole looked down at her for a long time. Then he walked over, picked up his bag, and tossed her a small blaster. "Then let's be ready," he said. For the first time in her life, a Zarathi warrior nodded to a human with respect and fear. Not of him, but of what was coming next. They weren't allies yet, but they were no longer enemies. Not while both sides wanted them dead. Asterisk, the ground shook beneath them. Not like an earthquake, more like something heavy was landing nearby. Again, then again, Cole's eyes snapped open. He hadn't meant to fall asleep, but exhaustion had taken him. He grabbed his rifle, breath held. Vale was already awake. She hadn't slept at all. She sat in the shadows of the broken transport. Weapon in hand. Eyes locked on the crack in the wall. She had heard the sound before drop. Dash pods, silent, fast, deadly. Not human, not friendly. "They're here," she said without turning. Cole nodded. "Your people?" "No," she whispered. "Not anymore." He peeked outside, then quickly ducked back down. Figures in black armor moved through the smoke, sleek, tall, in perfect formation. No marks, no lights, no sounds. "Who are they?" he asked. "Purge units," she replied. "Special division. No names, no mercy. Sent to clean up or erase." "Erase what?" "Traitors." Cole's eyes narrowed. "So they think you're a traitor now?" Vale looked him in the eye. "No, they don't think. They've already decided." The nearest unit stopped just outside the wreck. It raised a scanner. A soft hum passed through the air, like a wave crawling over their skin. Cole turned to Subskew. "Vale, you said this place was shielded." "It was," she said. "That's Zarathi tech. They know how to sniff their own." Cole's grip tightened on his weapon. "Then we move." "I can't move fast enough," she said. "You go." He didn't answer. He was already loading a magazine. "Cole, I told you," he interrupted. "I don't leave people behind." She stared at him. Not with anger. Not even with confusion. Something deeper, something close to belief. The scanner beeped. A red light flashed. They were found. Outside, the assassins raised their weapons. Then all hell broke loose. The first shot ripped through the wall. Cole pulled Vale down and rolled behind cover. Dust exploded around them. Metal cracked. Sparks flew. He returned fire. Quick, sharp bursts. He didn't miss. But the assassins didn't fall easily. One of them leaped over the broken hull, landing silently like a shadow. Its blade gleamed blue. Energy charged, hot enough to melt bone. Vale raised the blaster Cole had given her and fired. The shot hit the attacker in the chest. It stumbled, then fell back, armor sizzling. Her hand shook. Cole looked at her. "Nice shot." "Aiming for the head," she muttered. More were coming. Too many. Cole threw a flash bomb outside the opening and grabbed the sled-strap.vae. Didn't protest this time. They ran, or rather, he ran, dragging her behind, weaving between burnt trees and broken vehicles. Behind them, the purge squad followed in total silence. No shouting, no orders, just cold, perfect killing. Vale activated a defense drone from her wrist, one last trick she had left. It flew out behind them, humming like a wasp, then exploded in a small EMP blast. just enough to blind their scanners. They ducked into a trench, hearts racing. Vale coughed hard. "Why are you doing this?" she said, half broken. Cole didn't. "Look at her." "Because you shouldn't be the one running from your own kind." She leaned against a wall, eyes closed. "Then maybe I chose the wrong kind." They both sat quiet, breathing, bleeding, thinking. Then she looked at him, really. Looked. "You fight like a scifi," she said. He raised an eyebrow. "Is that a compliment?" "It means you don't give up, even when logic says you should. You keep going just to prove something." "What am I trying to prove?" he asked. She didn't answer, because she didn't know yet. The sky rumbled. Above them, ships, low orbit. Vale checked the map on her wrist. "There's an old bunker 6 kilometers west, abandoned human base. If we can get there, we might live another day." Cole stood and offered his hand. "Then let's live another day." She took it, for now. The enemy behind them wore black masks. But the real question wasn't about those killers in armor. The real question was, could a human and alien, raised to hate, trained to destroy, survive together? Because in the war zone ahead, the worst enemy might still be coming. The wind carried a sound that didn't belong. Not thunder, not footsteps. It was a voice, soft, cold, mechanical, repeating one word over and over. Surrender. Cole pressed his back against the bunker wall. His weapon was down to its last magazine. Blood covered his sleeve, but he didn't feel the pain anymore. He felt something worse. Trapped, Vale crouched beside him, breathing hard. One of her metal leg braces was broken, sparks coming off it with every movement. They had made it too. The old human base. Barely, but safety was a lie. Outside, the scifi purge squad had surrounded them. They weren't moving fast because they didn't need to. They knew Vale was inside. They knew Cole wouldn't leave her. And now, they were speaking to her, using her own language, broadcasting it into the air like poison. "Surrender, Vale. You will not be harmed. Surrender and return to your people." She closed her eyes. That voice, she knew it. Not just a soldier, not just any command unit. It was her old captain, the one who had trained her. The one who had once said, "Your loyalty will never be questioned." Now, he was here to kill her. Cole looked at her. "Friend of yours?" She shook her head slowly. "Not anymore." He handed her a water pouch. She didn't take it. Her eyes stayed locked on the door. Then, after a long silence, she spoke. "When I was young, I believed in our cause. I believed in strength, in order. In fear, she looked at him. But now, I don't believe in anything." Cole didn't answer. "Right away," then he said, "maybe that means you're ready to believe in something better." Before she could reply, a loud crack hit the door. A blast. Dust fell from the ceiling. "They're coming in," he said. She nodded. "I know." She pulled herself up with her arms and limped toward the console in the back of the room. "What are you doing?" "Sending a message." "To who?" She didn't look at him. Cole stood close now. Vale, still typing, Vale. She paused, hands hovering above the keys. "I'm contacting the scifi fleet." He stepped back. "What?" "Not to call for rescue," she said. "To call them off. If I use my officer code, they might believe I've taken you hostage. It will buy us time. You think they'll care?" She looked him in the eye. "They will care about me, but not us." Cole didn't like it. He said nothing. She hit send. The console blinked. Then flashed green dot signal sent. But the reply came faster than expected. "Eh?" Hollow voice came through the speaker. "You have been marked compromised. All units, eliminate both targets." The screen went black. Vale stood frozen. Cole's voice cut through the silence. You tried. She didn't look at him. Her hands were shaking. Her people had not only abandoned her, they had erased her. You don't exist to them anymore, Cole said. No, she whispered. I exist. As a threat. He stepped forward. Then let's become the threat they're afraid of. Her head turned slowly. What are you saying? I'm saying we don't run anymore. We hit back. We find a way off this rock. We survive. She gave a cold laugh. With what army? Cole handed her a data stick. What's this? A gift from a dying tech guy in my unit, he said. Encrypted files. He said it contained codes the scifi don't want anyone to have. Vale inserted it into the console. Lines of alien text appeared. Her eyes widened. This is military access data. Locations, communication networks, strike orders. Cole said nothing. She turned to him, stunned. You've been sitting on this the whole time? He shrugged. Didn't trust you. Do you now? He looked at her, straight-faced. I trust you to want revenge. Vale smiled. Not the proud smile of a warrior, but something older, wilder, something human. The door behind them shook again. Another blast. They had maybe minutes left, but now they had a purpose. No more running, no more loyalty to ghosts, just two broken soldiers. Planning to burn the sky, and for the first time, Vale wasn't thinking about escape. She was thinking about war. Asterisk rain started to fall, but not the soft kind. It was thick. Oily rain, dark water, mixed with ash. It slid down the broken bunker. Walls like blood, soaking into the earth that had seen too much death. Cole dragged a heavy crate across the floor and dropped it with a grunt. Inside, scraps, wires, metal parts, old tech, broken tools. Junk to most people, to him, it was hope. Vale lay on her back, staring at the ceiling, barely blinking. Her legs, or what was left of them, were gone, but not forgotten. Phantom. Pain still stabbed at her. Worse than pain, though, was helplessness. The feeling of being dead but breathing. She didn't want to be carried anymore. She didn't want to be a burden. She didn't want to be saved. So when Cole said, I have an idea, she didn't argue. She just whispered, show me. He had found pieces of a damaged exosuit from the base armory. Human tech, old model, but it still had strength in its bones. Together, they worked through the night. She gave him specs from Zarathi Design. He taught her how to fuse their parts with human. Wiring, no instructions. Just trial, sparks, and smoke. By morning, her new legs were ready, ugly, loud, unpolished but strong. Cole knelt beside her. You sure about this? Vale looked at the metallic limbs. If they kill me, at least I'll die standing. He helped her strap them on. Each click felt like a heartbeat returning. She stood, wobbly, shaking, then took one step, then another. Cole smiled. Well, damn. Vale looked down at him. I'm tired of crawling. The sky cracked with thunder. Far above, a fleet moved into orbit. She could feel them. Zarathi ships, scanning the surface. Looking for one target, her. And now she was walking toward them. They didn't have a plan. Not really. Only a direction. Cole had picked up a signal the night before, a human dropship. Still operational, 18 kilometers south. Last known location, buried under debris in an old war zone. Their one chance off this planet? Maybe. Their last, they packed light. A few weapons. The data stick. One device, and whatever anger they had left. They moved through fire-scorched fields and broken metal bones of dead ships. Sometimes they walked. Sometimes they ran. And sometimes when the path was too rough. Cole helped her balance, not like a hero, but like a soldier who knew the cost of slowing down. Along the way, they met signs of life. not friendly. One Zarathi scout drone flew overhead. Vale shot it out of the sky before Cole even raised his rifle. "I thought you were aiming for peace," he joked. "I'm aiming for us," she replied. Later, they crossed a battlefield full of rusted armor, both human and alien. They didn't stop. No words. Just ghosts staring at ghosts. Then came the real test. A Zarathi kill squad patrolling the hills. 6 of them. Fast, trained, silent. Cole looked at Vale. "Can we outrun them?" She shook her head. "No. Can we fight them?" She checked. Her new legs? Let's find out. They ambushed the squad from the ridge. Coordinated, sharp. Odo. Cole took 3 down with perfect headshots. Vale charged into the others like a storm. Blades drawn, moving like she had been born on those mechanical legs. When it ended, they stood among the bodies, breathing hard. Alive. Cole wiped his face. "You good?" She stared at her blood-covered hands. "I'm starting to feel like myself again." He smiled. "That's the scary part." They reached the dropship site by nightfall. It was half buried under debris. Lights dead, door jammed shut. But it was there. Cole touched the hull like it was sacred. "This thing fly." Vale scanned it. Maybe's better than nothing. They began repairs. Quick, dirty, dangerous. A small generator brought the lights to life. The ship's voice spoke in broken English. "Low power. Launch possible. 1 attempt." Cole looked at her. "1 try." She nodded. "1 shot." He turned to her, serious. "Once we lift off, you know we'll both be hunted." Vale didn't hesitate. "Then we fly like prey and fight like predators." The engines rumbled outside. Another squad was closing in. They didn't have minutes. They had seconds. Cole took the pilot's seat. Vale gripped the side rail. Legs locked in. She looked out the window as the ground began to shake. "Time to stop running," she said, and the dropship roared to life, rising through smoke, fire, and war. 2 enemies, now 1 storm. The sky wasn't blue. It was war-colored, orange, black, and full of fire. The dropship screamed upward, tearing through clouds of ash and metal. Engines coughed, hull rattled, alarms blinked red. It wasn't flying, it was surviving. Inside, Cole gripped the controls with white knuckles. Every warning light was blinking. He ignored them all. Behind him, Vale stood on her new legs, holding onto a ceiling bar with 1 hand, rifle in the other. "They're following," she said, voice flat. "How many?" "More than we can fight." Cole didn't answer. He already knew. A full Zarathi pursuit wing, 3 interceptors, and a capital gunship had locked onto them the moment they left the surface. Vale moved beside him and pulled up the ship's old working screen. Cole glanced over. "You thinking what I'm thinking?" She didn't reply. She was already arming the ship's last missile. "That's our only one," he said. "Then we don't miss." Outside, the interceptors closed in. Cole pulled the ship into a dive. It wasn't part of the plan. He didn't have a plan. But it felt right. The enemy fired plasma blasts streaked past them, close enough to singe the hull. Vale launched a counterflare. 50 seconds until they catch us," she said. He laughed. "Good. I work well under pressure." The missile locked onto the nearest target. Vale waited. Waited, double quotes now. The missile launched. It struck the lead interceptor, blowing it apart. The blast shook the sky, but the others kept coming. "We'll never outrun them," Cole said. Vale turned to him. "Then we changed the rules." He looked at her and saw something in her eyes. Not fear, not pride, purpose. She uploaded the data. "Stick into the ship's relay." "Broadcasting now," she said. Cole frowned. "What are you sending?" She looked out the window. "Everything. Coordinates. Military plans, secrets, war crimes, betrayals. Every dark truth hidden by both sides. A signal of fire. The ship's radio crackled. Human channels, alien channels. Static turned into voices. Dozens, then hundreds. Confusion, panic, then silence. Cole stared at her. You just made yourself the most wanted person in 2 galaxies. She nodded. Good. I'm tired of hiding. The Zarathi gunship was close now, too close. Its main cannon powered up. Cole looked at the empty missile bay. Any more tricks? Vale walked past him, opened the emergency hatch at the rear. Wind and smoke rushed in. She grabbed a magnetic charge from the wall. One last trick. He stood, realizing what she meant. No, you're the pilot, I'm the warhead. No Vale. But she was already climbing out, legs locking to the hull. She turned back. Promise me, you'll land this ship. He stepped forward. I can't promise me, she said again. He looked at her and nodded. She leaped so fast, so clean, she flew through the storm. Body wrapped in fire. Charging toward the gunship, they tried to dodge, they failed. Her magnetic charge detonated on impact, a white flash. A blast wave. Then silence. The gunship was gone. So was she. Cole landed the ship on a hidden moon station alone. He didn't speak for days. The galaxy did. News spread fast. The message, the sacrifice, the warrior, not just an alien, not just an enemy, a name whispered in fear by the corrupt and in hope by the broken dot. Val. Cole walked through the crowd on the station's docking bay. Head low, he passed humans, Zarathi, others. Some nodded at him, some saluted. No one stopped him. He wasn't a hero. He was the one who stayed behind when no one else would. The one who carried her story, her fire, her fight, and somewhere deep inside, he knew this wasn't the end. It was just the start of something new. 2 enemies had met on a battlefield. Only one walked away, but both of them changed the stars forever.